So this is a subject I know a lot of you are hoping for a magic bullet, quick and easy answer on. Which vitamins and supplements actually help in fertility? Now this is a huge topic. I could do entire videos on individual supplements, and maybe I will in the future. But for now, I want to give you the best overview possible. So this is the which fertility supplements should I take video, and here's what you're about to learn. Pump the brakes. Before you put anything in your body, we have to start out by getting clear about why you need to be smart about potential fertility and other risks so that you can land on the legit, best, safest options for you. Finding high quality evidence. Once you're clear about being safer with supplements, I want to tell you where to research and fact check anything you're considering or that's suggested to you to find out what's truly worth your money and your efforts. And last, finding quality brands. Here, I'll teach you how to find the brands that you can trust to deliver the ingredients they claim they have in them, because, spoiler alert, many don't. Okay, so people tend to think that natural is generally safe and that more might be better. But especially for supplements, too much can be straight up harmful. So my very first warning is about high dosing. You would not eat a barrel of oranges or 50 pounds of fish a day, so you probably shouldn't take the vitamin C or fish oil equivalent, at least not long term. Vitamin D, for example, does all sorts of really nifty things if you're deficient, but if you're not and you supplement with a very high dose, it can make you really sick. Vitamin C can cause diarrhea and stomach upset. High-dose CoQ10 can cause nausea and trigger wicked headaches in people. High-dose fish oil can cause bleeding and low blood pressure. Melatonin can make depression worse. The list goes on and on. So more is not better, especially long-term. And by long-term for fertility, I'd say 3 months would be my absolute max for taking a relatively high dose of most things. And let's just explore that vitamin C equivalent to a barrel of oranges idea a bit more here. An orange isn't at all the same thing as a vitamin C pill or supplement. Another thing that might not exactly make supplements dangerous, but definitely makes them pretty flawed, is lack of complexity. There are all sorts of other nutrients and interplay that happen in food that a pill is never going to replicate. So it's way better to just eat the food that contains the specific nutrient that you're wanting than to take a bunch of the lab-made specific nutrient by itself. And you might be saying to yourself, but Nicole, my supplement isn't lab-made. It's made out of real food and it's real ingredients. And to that I'd say, okay, but that pill that's got 3 types of mushrooms and beets and licorice and alfalfa in it, how much of that stuff can they get in a pill or even a handful of those pills? The food is going to be better. Beyond food being more complex and more complete, and the dose of the nutrients you'll get from food being not bonkers high, supplements can actually hurt you in several other very real ways. Next on the list is by making bad ripple effects. DHEA and melatonin, for example, are common fertility supplement suggestions, but they're actual hormones. And if you change one hormone, you will make ripples in other hormones because hormones are all kicking in and turning off based on interconnected feedback loops. This is why high-dose melatonin can make you stop ovulating, and DHEA supplementation can make you start to grow facial hair and develop a deeper voice. And it's not just the supplements that are hormones themselves. There are loads of other supplements that have known secondary effects on hormones. And then those hormonal changes can make either positive or negative secondary ripples depending on whether they're actually needed by your particular unique body or not. Chasteberry, otherwise known as Vitex, is a supplement I get asked about all of the time, and it does this sort of secondary hormonal change. People who need the hormonal changes it creates feel good and have better cycles on it. But I've seen plenty of people who don't need these changes take it and stop cycling for several months. You really, really need to understand what your body is telling you and what your hormones are actually doing. And it is possible to do this and understand this. If you haven't already done tests, I've got multiple videos and handouts about which tests are helpful and also about how to interpret your body's signs and symptoms to make an observation-based educated hypothesis. I have people who do this and then they go in and they ask their doctors for the exact test for what they think they have, and the doctors are always impressed at how much they knew before they even ran the tests. I teach how to do this in the nursery module in my 90-day program. Now, my third word of supplement warning is Just look at history. There is a rich, sad history of supplements being touted as cure-alls only to find out that they're straight up toxic. We used to put lead in food and toothpaste. We used to use mercury as a medicine. More recently, people have taken herbs that have classically been used very safely for specific things and abused them in other ways, and then gotten very sick or even died as a result. Now, these might seem like pretty extreme examples, but too much iron or vitamin A can cause organ damage, and higher dose supplements with vitamin E or calcium seems to increase certain cancer risks in certain people. The point is, the more immoderate and extreme ways that we start to take vitamins and supplements, the more we risk bad outcomes that people in the future might look back at and say, duh, about. Consideration number 4, quality control. Vitamins and supplements aren't necessarily tested for purity or even content, so there's always a risk of hazardous accidental substitutions, pesticides, and other impurities, especially in herbal formulas. Now, some Chinese herbs that are imported have also been shown to be contaminated with over-the-counter medications like Sudafed and ibuprofen. And when the New York State Attorney General's office conducted an investigation in 2016 on store brand supplements at 4 big national retailers, GNC, Target, Walgreens, and Walmart, they found that the dietary supplements that they were testing often didn't contain the full dose they were advertising, or sometimes any of the main ingredient that they were purportedly selling at all. Instead, they were often full of fillers that contained potential allergens that weren't even listed on the ingredients. Side note, I really do love Chinese herbs. I prescribe Chinese herbs, I take them myself, and when they're given by a skilled provider who is fully trained and who buys their herbs from a company that uses third-party purity testing, Chinese herbs can be fantastic for lots of things. But make sure that's what you're taking if you take them. My final warning is a holistic but a huge one. Vitamins and supplements are often crazy making. This is because supplements are a super slippery slope when it comes to succumbing to something that I call putting on baby blinders. Now, baby blinders is basically the mindset that all you care about is if something is technically good for your fertility, or even if someone says it's good for your fertility and it might not be. And then you go all in without actually noticing what it's doing to your body, your mind, and your quality of life. Now, when you put on the baby blinders, before you know it, you'll be taking 25 supplements and doing 25 things that are arguably helpful, but you're doing them in a way that makes you feel entirely stressed out and threatened and overwhelmed, which ironically creates a very real sense of danger that makes your body want to get pregnant less the harder and harder you try. So, one supplement alone is definitely not going to take over your entire life and hurt you in this way. But 15 supplements, plus the worry that you've got 15 things to fix, which is why you're taking the supplements, plus the cost, plus the possible side effects and adverse interactions, and the energy you're spending going to see providers who are giving you all these supplements and telling you that you've got all this stuff to fix, at best, that's often one step forward and 2 or 3 back. So be aware. Certain supplements are well studied and can do cool things if you have specific circumstances and fertility needs. For example, Inositol can improve ovulation rates in people with anovulatory PCOS that's been linked to underlying insulin issues. And L-carnitine seems to pretty reliably improve sperm in cases of low sperm count and motility. But way more often than not, people put way too much energy and effort into taking lots of things that aren't so backed by science, and it's a waste of their resources. If you want to get savvy on which supplements are actually worth taking, you need to look for unbiased and evidence-based sources of supplement research. And that website that's all about fixing your egg quality, or that provider who has shelves and shelves of supplements to sell you, they might not actually be unbiased or research-backed at all. Then again, they might be, but the point is you really have to fact-check it yourself. And thankfully, there's a really great one-stop shop that can help a ton. My number one go-to easy place, if I had to pick just one, is a website called examine.com. Now, when you go to this site, which I get absolutely no financial kickback from, you will see a ton of free info and even more if you subscribe. And you can type in the supplement you're thinking of taking, and it's going to pull up an entire page where it breaks down the dosing and background info, as well as the research conclusions from many, many, many studies, all funneled into one place. And it's also going to add notes about possible flaws in these studies. Now, if the results are consistent, it's going to tell you that from study to study, and it's going to tell you so much more. The people who run examine.com call themselves the neutral Switzerland of dietary and supplement data, which I love. Now, the one downside of this site is that they don't have every possible supplement, but there are a ton, and it's constantly expanding. Some other places you can look include websites of trusted non-fertility medical clinics or colleges like Mayo or Harvard, or on the National Institute of Health's Office of Dietary Supplements pages. I'll put some links in the video description. I already mentioned a whole bunch of big name stores were selling supplements that didn't even contain the main ingredient they claimed they were selling. So once you decide that it's a good idea to add a supplement, you also need to know what brand is going to deliver a quality product. ConsumerLab.com is another site with some free and some paid content that's worth checking out. Again, not affiliated. Much of what they do is compare different brands and give recommendations on what to buy. Now, I'll be honest, this is a site where you're probably going to have to pay a little bit to get what you need, but if you're on a lot of supplements already or you're in the thick of fertility struggles and you really want to research and be sure what you're taking is legit, it's probably worth the cost of subscribing for a year. Again, not affiliated with this site. I currently pay for both of these sites myself. So that's it. When it comes to best fertility supplements, now you can see why there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all, but you've got what you need to dig in and do a little fact-finding and get to the heart of what you need while also staying safe and healthy too. If you want to be able to understand more about what your unique body and your symptoms and your menstrual cycle are telling you, I'd love you to check out my program. There's an entire module diving into the nuts and bolts of all things reproductive, from feedback loops to signs of hormonal issues and so much more. Here's what we just covered. Pump the brakes. I shared 5 very important things to be aware of: high dosing, ripple effects, history, quality control, and those crazy-making baby blinders. Finding high-quality evidence. Now you can fact-check recommendations and see if they're actually worth taking. And last, finding quality brands. Now you know where to look to find which brands to trust. Did this video make you think about fertility supplements differently? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for spending this time with me. Now get out there, eat the rainbow, and be moderate in what you do. I'll see you again soon. Which supplement should I take? I don't know.